Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm joined by Juan, who is a learning coach. So he helps people learn and retain information a lot better so they can pass exams to get their doctorate residency. So Juan, thanks a lot for coming on the channel. Really excited for this conversation today. You've been absolutely crushing it. I know when we first started working together, about, what was that, last year? Maybe
Yeah.
not quite a year, but hit your very first 10K month, hopped in, and then now you've been able to hit four back-to-back 50K months and just absolutely crushing it. So it's an honor to work with you. It's awesome having you in the community. And I know we had a lot of fun together last month in Spain as well at the mastermind there. So Juan, welcome to the channel, brother. And really, really excited for our conversation today.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here and I appreciate you having me.
Amazing. So let's dive straight in, man. Yeah, tell us a little bit about what it was like, kind of like where you were at with the business. Back when we first started working together and kind of tell us a little bit about the journey since.
Yeah, perfect. So when I started working with Jeremy back in October of last year, I just hit my first 10K month and I asked Jeremy to work with him and I told him I'll have to be a little scrappy with the payments. He said yes. Fortunately for me at that moment, I needed it. Um, and ever since then on November I did like 22K or so. Then on December I hit like 13K, then January 18.5, then February like 20, 22, March same thing. April, I think I hit 28 or something like that, but around 20K those months. And in those months, I felt kind of stuck. Like I felt everything was just like the same thing, like the same way. But then, like, I started to, like, at first, I improved a lot because I was making 10K per month, but since I'm in Latin America, I had to charge a little bit less, of course, or a lot less. So I was working like a dog. So Jeremy taught me how to hire a team, how to delegate, how to handle a team in general. So I kind of found myself into this initial trap of leverage in which at first you don't gain as much leverage, but then I kind of noticed that I was kind of getting to a hopelessness state just because I thought I was stuck. And then I remember hearing an interview from you and Tom said like, uh, I just did what Jeremy said. So at that point, I had already gone through the modules once and implemented everything. But then as entrepreneurs, we like chaos and we start changing things. So I went back, so the whole modules again, and did everything you said, basically. So if you said, raise your hand, I raised my hand, everything as you said in the modules. And then by doing that, on May, I hit my first 50K month. And then on June, I did 36.5 because of like seasonality. I have seasonal periods in both June and December because of
Right.
my offer. But after that, it was like 48, 49K, 50, 51. So has been pretty great.
Powerful, man. That's awesome. And it just goes to show like you can have access to the same information, but what really matters is execution and implementation and taking action on it. And so going back through everything again, like 7, 8 months after you first did, and then taking action on it and really just going all in, literally double your business in like a month, which is
Yeah.
wild. So props to you, man. That's huge. Um, what's a lesson that you've learned about building a team and leadership? So I know you touched on that a little bit, and you've done an incredible job of pulling yourself out of the trenches. So, what challenges did you face at the start when it came to building a team, and what have you learned that you wish you knew sooner?
First, the biggest struggle for me was that I was pretty bad at having hard conversations. So I kind of knew that someone wasn't performing as well, but I was just stubborn, like just to keep them in the team, even though they don't perform. So I wish I have learned this lesson earlier on being able to fire people faster. Um, we are all human beings, and this is hard stuff to do, but we have touched a lot on this on our group calls. We touched a lot on that in Marbella, and it's definitely something you have to get good at if you want to succeed. And then the other thing is there is a period in which you have to be willing to train these team members that you're bringing. And at first, I remember you telling me that the expectation was for the person to be ready in a month. And I was thinking to myself that if someone new wasn't performing as well um, in the first week, then I should like find someone else. So it was kind of uh, a false expectation there that you helped me crush.
That's awesome. And as a result of that, did that lead to a team member that maybe didn't perform well in the first week actually picking it up and performing well in the first month? And then they've actually done well and you've kept them?
Yeah, exactly. That's actually funny because
Mm.
this happened to me just this past month. This month was like the month that just ended. Well, not just, but
Mhm.
September. I had some trouble because while I was in Marbella, my CSM quit, so I had to get back and find one. And then my closer got sick at the end of the month, so
Mm.
I had to take some sales calls and stuff. Even though all of that, we were able to hit 50K again. Uh, but what happened with my CSM was actually pretty interesting because I hired a new one, and in a week and a half, in a week she was being trained by my previous CSM, and then after that, she started working like for another week and a half, and I just saw the metrics of client success, which are metrics that I track within my program, go down, and I got worried. And I literally followed the framework that Tom taught us in the mastermind, in which you have first to have the conversation, the tough conversation with the person saying she's not performing or the person is not performing, and then after that, if the person is not performing, then you let her go. So I had the first conversation with her. Mm, she told me she was going to do everything okay. Then she didn't, and I had to have the second conversation with her again. And I told her like, we're done. This is it. And she told me like, hey, just give me a week. And I said, okay, we'll see. And in 2 days, she recovered the metrics to the point they were before. And
Mm.
actually, I learned that even though you say you train people, you may not be training people as well as you think, because she had a lot of questions that she thought she should be figuring out by herself, and she didn't ask. And that was why she was stuck. So, kind of a lesson for me there is sometimes we think it's enough just to say you do this instead of having proper SOPs. And when I say proper SOPs, I mean really detailed SOPs, because I have them, but I didn't have them like detailed enough. So
Right.
yeah.
That's powerful. Now, I want to take a bit of a step back here as well. So you're stuck at 20K a month for a while, and then all of a sudden, within like a month, you hit 50 and then 50 again and stuff like that. What was it specifically that unlocked that growth from 20 to 50K a month? I know you said you went back through the modules, you did everything that I said in there, but like what were the things that you did that really unlocked that growth for you?
First being I I did a new ad. That was something that I changed. And basically what I did was I took the information I knew that worked before from my clients, and then I followed the script you give within your modules, and I created a new version. And I remember that I created the version and I sent that on the ads channel, and Eduardo actually corrected me some things. And then after he gave me that, I recorded it, launched it, and it just started printing.
That's awesome. I love that. Let's talk about that a little bit too. So I know for those that are watching, Eduardo is my client success manager. So he really gets down in the weeds, nitty gritty with a lot of my clients. And I know Juan, you and Eduardo have been working together very closely as well. What's that experience been like? And how has it been like working with him very closely versus like working with myself as well and stuff like that? I'd love to just kind of hear your perspective on how much Eduardo specifically has helped and how.
Yeah. So, of course, at first, we kind of say, like, we want proximity to Jeremy and stuff. And then you kind of notice that actually someone else who is trained by Jeremy can give you more time and energy, because Jeremy, of course, has a lot of a lot of things on his plate. And then you meet Eduardo, that fortunately for me and my team speaks Spanish because he's from Mexico. And then we can communicate with him in Spanish and, of course, also in English. And he's a pretty nice guy. Like, apart from his experience, his previous experience as a setter, the knowledge you already transferred to him in terms of ads and also in terms of client success, he really cares. And you can't fake someone that really cares. And I think that's his biggest strength when it comes to being a client success manager.
100%. Yeah. And it's really cool for me too, because it's like, yeah, he used to be an appointment setter for an offer booking like 5 to 7 calls a day. And then he scaled, then he was a client of mine and scaled a peak performance coaching offer to like 20, 30K a month as well. And then decided that he wanted to kind of go full time as a CSM because he just loved the coaching side of things, right? He didn't really love the marketing, the sales side. And I think that just really goes to show like exactly what you said, that character trait of him just caring so much. He just wants to coach. He just wants to help and serve people. And so that's really cool. So it's cool to like for me to see somebody just so well rounded and so committed and just somebody who cares a lot and seeing the effect of that because like he's way better at certain things than I am. And so he can go way deeper in certain things than I am as well. So it actually is a huge win-win and serves everybody, which is really, really cool. And it's just yeah, it's a win for us. Like it's a win for me, it's a win for him, it's a win for you and everybody else. So that's really cool. Speaking about everybody else too. So tell us a little bit about your experience just being in the community and what's that like and how does that differ from other communities that you've been in?
I think it's a whole different story. I haven't been part of any other community that is like this. People really care about you, like here. And I think it has to do also with the fact that you guys in the sales process are also very picky on who you get in, let let in, right?
Mm.
So I think that's also huge because when you ask a question in a group call, people cheer you up also. And then it is pretty great that they cheer you up, they help you with whatever questions you have, and then that also reflected on the mastermind. Like people just wanted you to win, and just it was just an environment in which everyone was by default a winner and wanted to win even further with you.
And how
I
does
have
that
never
affect
seen
you?
like that.
How does that affect you as an entrepreneur?
Entrepreneurship is a lonely thing. Like it's too lonely. So the fact that you are able to share your experiences with other people is really huge. Like for instance, this, as I told you, this past month was tough for me. Happened There was a lot of stuff going on, and even though that happened, I just had the example of Nick Neville that in August, like, got banned from Instagram, got banned from Stripe, but hit 70K per month, and it was a record month for him. And then, like, whenever I was facing a new challenge, I just reminded myself of him, and of course, that helped me level up as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really powerful. And what was it like meeting people from the community in person? So I hosted a retreat, client retreat. We spent 7 nights in this like $40 million villa in Marbella, Spain. And there was 29 of us there total. And I don't know, from my side, it was pretty cool to see that. I'd love to kind of hear like from your perspective, Juan, because I know you flew all the way from Colombia to be there with us and to meet all these people that you've known for almost a year. What was that experience like for you? And how does the in-person environment differ from online?
It just hits different for sure. Like it is another thing. And I as you may recall, like the night I said goodbye, I started crying. Um because of course we grow a lot as a person, as people in general when we become entrepreneurs, but sometimes your mind don't catch up with you because you tend to look at yourself the same way you used to look at yourself before when you weren't getting as much results. And then meeting all the people and realizing you belong somewhere and that you have earned what you have accomplished and that it is real, because sometimes in the online space we just work at the computer like every day, and it seems nothing has changed. So when you meet in person with this amazing group of people, and then they also let you know how good you are, because sometimes ourselves, like, we tend to be our worst enemies, and sometimes you need someone that is in your same position to see you the way, like, you're not able to see because you're too harsh on yourself sometimes. And everyone in the community was just like so welcoming in general, and it was amazing, like the best experience of my life so far.
Wow. Wow. I'm glad, man. And Yeah, I'm already really excited for the next one and every other one that's gonna come as well, because you're right, the in-person energy just it just hits different. And especially when you develop the relationships online and you work like you get to know everybody virtually, and then when you actually do meet in person, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
So speaking of that too, because I know a lot of people like they came to Marbella with one kind of like intention, something they want to get out of the trip, right? Whether it's like fixing a bottleneck or something along those lines. Like what were your expectations or your intentions going into it versus like what did you actually get out of it? What did you take home with you?
Mm. My intention was like when I was flying there, my intention was to like really absorb knowledge. I'm a learning coach, right? So I had to learn.
Uh-huh.
um and like I tried to focus a lot on the technical side of things, but when I got there and I started sharing with everyone, I noticed that the most important thing for me was going to be the confidence and the like just believing I was living the way or I'm living the way I'm supposed to. Like I'm on
Mm.
the right path, I'm getting good results. Like just being aware of it and understanding it is not as easy. Um it was really life changing for me. I had some conversations with Nick Priola that also was there in the mastermind, and he told me that the way I carried myself in the first days was kind of a way of someone that is not as confident because he hasn't achieved that much, and then just going into like several days of like changing the way I thought about myself because of the ambience I was in. He actually told me, "You look like a pretty different person now." And I got back from Marbella and I was able to change my standards by a lot. I actually was um, putting off a conversation with my BA. I knew I needed to let her go, but I wasn't able to do that because maybe I wasn't like as confident in the standards I needed to have for myself and for my company. But after Marbella, the first thing I did was that because I was confident enough in what I was bringing to the table and that there was something wrong in the situation. So I think that you have a saying in the modules, in the mindset modules, that says uh you cannot grow more than your personal growth or something like that. You can't outgrow your personal growth. Um, and then I think the personal side of things, I needed to dial in Marbella. I did. And because of that, I was able to improve a lot in the business side of things too.
That's awesome. And to get to 50K a month, like talking about the personal side of things, like who did you have to become in order to make that happen? What had to change?
Looking back, I think the most important part is you have to be willing to do things that people in general aren't willing to do. This ad that was printing, literally, I say was printing because right now it brings us an 8x ROAS and it used to bring us 20. So it is still printing, but um, the thing with that ad was that I re-recorded it like 20 times.
Mm,
And not a lot of people is willing to do that. And that's why they don't get the extraordinary results they get. And then that's one thing. And second, at least for me, since I'm in Latin America and I have to charge a lot less, I wouldn't have been able to get to 50K without my team, like by any means. Like the fact that I had amazing team members that trusted me and that believed in my vision was pretty key, or has been pretty key. My setter has had a lot of job offers, but he just decides to stay with me every single time. And my new VA, she actually told me this past week, I'm pretty happy working with you, not only because it is fun to work here, it is nice to work here, but also because you actually provide people results. And that actually hit me. Like, it is like, not only you have to provide results to your clients for the sake of getting referrals and stuff, but you have to provide them results for your team members to feel, I think, ethical helping you. And I think, like, just to summarize, um the thing I had to improve, or the person I had to become in order to hit 50K, was the type of person that actually gave results, both in his personal work, like with, for example, the ads, and then with your clients and
Mm,
with your team members, and got to improve every single skill there was to get to that level.
that's awesome. So for somebody watching who might be stuck around 10 to 20K a month right now, and they've been there for a while, they're feeling stuck, they're kind of getting frustrated because their business just isn't growing. What advice would you have for somebody like that who's trying to do whatever it takes to make it happen, to grow, but they're just not seeing the result yet?
They may haven't identified the right problem to solve.
Mm,
And that was something that we spoke about in the mastermind. I remember you actually did a YouTube video on this too, but I remember on the ads workshop that Peyton gave,
yeah.
saying like, you guys, almost all of you guys, don't have an ads problem, you have a setting problem. And I actually was one of them. I thought I had an ads problem, and I actually had a setting problem. So um almost every time you you're not where you want to be because you don't know something. Maybe you know how to do something, or maybe not, but you for sure don't know the real constraint you're facing. And that's when an outside perspective from a coach like Jeremy is really valuable, because you can keep on going trying to solve everything by yourself for months and not getting any results. And that actually happened to me. um Before I hit my first 10K month, I didn't hire a coach, and I was stuck for 2.5 years. And then I hired a coach, hit 50K, 10K, hit 10K, and then kept investing on coaching. And now I have made more than 300K in total. So it's kind of, people can people can like say they don't need a mentor, but we all need mentors. Actually, I remember you saying you have paid for like 35, 40K for mentoring this year or more. So everyone needs mentoring.
Oh yeah. Just in the last 6 months, I think I've not spent, invested well over 100K just in mentors, masterminds, events, stuff like that. I'm actually locking in the process of locking in two more, like probably within the next week or two. So yeah, it's it's just such a cheat code because even if all somebody can do for you is help you identify what the right problem to solve is right now and the right way to solve it, that just unlocks so much growth. And like you said,
Mm.
usually it requires an outside perspective because if we haven't done what we're trying to do, then we don't really know what we need to do to get there. And it becomes very tough. But yeah, that's a very powerful statement there, man. When it comes to getting results, so now we talked about that for your clients. What are some key things that you do differently in your program to ensure that your clients see the success that they're wanting?
Yeah, so I actually asked this to you once, and you recommended me to read Customer Success Manifesto, and I started with that. Then, second, looking at your program as an example of people that actually care. I remember myself past December asking a lot of questions and you giving me like insanely long answers and me just saying, is this the same way I respond to my clients? The answer was no, because I didn't care as much. And then I said, okay, this is a this is something I have to fix. Like learning by example, by your example, has really served me well. So that's one thing. Second, we track metrics within our program to see in which like stage of our client journey people is in, and to see what's the specific support people need. And this has been like huge for us because we know if we are actually objectively improving or not. And the more I like the more I keep on like living life in general, the more I noticed that if you want to improve something, you just have to track it and then make decisions based on the data you see. And that's something you have also taught us a lot. So that's it.
That's awesome. What systems have you built to make running your business much easier? And how has that affected like the results you get, both on the front end in terms of your marketing and sales, and also on the back end in terms of client delivery?
Yeah. So a huge one has been that mm, I always ask myself, how can I win every single time? Like not once, but every single time. And what that means is, how can I recognize common trends within the things that I know work to make them work even further?
Mm,
For example, a simple example, within my program, I ask for feedback a lot. And I noticed there was a specific lesson in the program that wasn't giving as much results as I wanted to. And but then I waited for the right time to make the change, because we have to make decisions based on data, and one person's opinion is not enough. So I waited, and based on the feedback, I changed the specific session, and then I was able to not only solve that question that always tend to arise, but also I was able to provide more results to my clients without myself or my time involved. So it's kind of always asking yourself the right questions. That's the
mm.
key, I think, for most of the things.
That's awesome. Now, in basically your first year running your coaching business, you've made 350K. A lot of people have been running theirs for much, much longer, selling to a lot more people that have a lot more money because you're in Latin America, right? So people have just naturally a lot less buying power. So you're kind of forced to charge a little bit less, right? But then again, like your money goes so much further there too. So what, like, how has that impacted your like personal life and just like your confidence, how you carry yourself, and like just yeah, when you kind of reflect back over the last year or so, like what comes up for you?
That was something that actually helped me a lot in the mastermind, or the mastermind helped me a lot with that. Because even though I was making this amount of money, I didn't feel different until I was there and until I met people that made me feel like understood. Because what has happened for me so far is that even though you know you're winning, people around you think you're not because you maybe work a lot or you maybe do stuff that they don't understand. A lot of people don't understand that you like people with like us
Mhm.
love to work. So they think you're losing because you're not able to get off of work, like,
Mm.
and then you kind of tie that identity they give you to a loser identity, and then you don't change your perspective about yourself or your own self-image. But then you go to Marbella, you hang around with people like yourself that are very proud of you, that are very proud of themselves too. And of course, that hits a lot on your confidence. Like after that, like as I said, that trip changed my life because it really impacted the way I looked at myself. So yeah, that has been pretty awesome.
That's awesome, man. So moving forward from here, before we wrap things up shortly, like what's next for you? What are you aiming for now? And what do you think you need to do in order to get there?
I'm aiming a lot higher. Um, we'll see if I'm able to achieve this, but I want to be in 10 years the best test preparation company in the world. That's what I want to be. Um, just for context, the company that is winning right now in that term is a company making 1.3 billion per year. So there's a long way to go, but I really think I'm helping people, and I really want to keep helping people as much as I possibly can, um, because my stuff actually works, and that makes me feel confident enough to market more. And then, like, even though there is a lot of scams in every market, uh, in the Latin American market, there is a lot more scams,
Mm.
and it's weird for people to see a program that actually delivers on what they say they will deliver, and sometimes things are that simple. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I love the vision, and I have no doubt you're gonna hit that. So, yeah, man, it's an honor to be a part of your journey. It's an honor to build and grow and learn alongside you. And yeah, just to see how far you've come over the last year has been super, super cool. And obviously, it was a pleasure to meet you in person in Marbella as well at the mastermind. And really looking forward to the next time we can hang out in person too, because it was a lot of fun. So, um, before before we wrap up, because I know I've been on calls all day long and I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit here, but is there anything else that any other advice that you would give somebody looking to just kind of try to make that breakthrough, try to get to the next level. Is there anything else you'd tell them to do, or anything that you wish somebody told you about 12 months ago?
Mm, just hire Jeremy.
I mean, fair. All right. Well, I think that's a good way to end it. Thanks, Juan, for coming on here, man. Again, it's been such an honor working with you, and it's always a pleasure because you're one of those guys who literally just takes action. And I know, like, specifically when you're kind of stuck at 20 and then you hit 50 the next month, I remember you would literally ask me a question, and then the next day it would be done, or like that day, or like before we even got off the call, you would just like do the thing and just take relentless action. And then all of a sudden you got these crazy results. And so if anybody else watching needs to do, like, if you're looking for a breakthrough, that's probably what it is. You're probably avoiding the things that you know you need to do, and you're just procrastinating, you're putting it off. And so figure out what it is that scares you most and what you're kind of running away from, face that head on, and just go all in and just do it. And you too can see some very, very powerful results. So with that, thanks again for coming on the channel, Juan. Always a pleasure, brother. And again, great work, and really, really proud of your growth so far.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeremy. I saw the interview you had with Adam last couple weeks that you recorded in Spain actually.
Mhm.
And I know there is a contest with between Adam and Tom. And Tom has 3 interviews in this channel. Adam has 2. I want to get to 3 too, but I want to get to 3 when I hit 1 million. So I hope to be back soon.
Let's make it happen. It's only a matter of time at this rate, man. So love it. All right. Thanks again, Juan. Appreciate you. And if you want to get my help to scale your coaching business too, links down in the description. Booking a call. We'd love to chat, see if we can help you. No pressure, no obligations on this call. But if you want to learn more about the funnel as well and the process and everything that we do, check out the main video pinned to my channel. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.